We will see how to use the MATLAB help and how the fixed income toolbox is used. So I went to the help button and I went to product help. On the left hand side I see the various toolboxes that I have installed. Now just to remind you, I have not installed all toolboxes, so I have installed the toolboxes that I would be using. So on the left hand side you can see various toolboxes. The first one is econometrics. So econometrics give you access to uh, ARIMA models, regression, stochastic equation and things like that. Then you have the financial toolbox. This is general about more towards financial time series. Most of it would talk about how to handle data. Then we have the financial derivative toolbox. We have three types of things here. First is the interest rate, then equity, and then hedging using those derivatives. And then we have the fixed income toolbox, which has four parts: mortgage backed security, debt instrument, derivative instrument, and interest rate curve. I will move through an example on how to use these toolboxes and how to use the help file to your benefit. So the financial income toolbox start with MBS. But I would go one step up. So we have the financial toolbox, which has got some basic formulas on how to handle with the dates and the data, and we have the fixed income toolbox, which starts with the MBS and debt instrument and then derivatives and interest rate. Now we are going to use the help and we will be careful about these five things whenever we are going to see them, and as our learning moves ahead, we'll understand how to use these five things. First is array indexing, playing around with array, taking out a row or a column or taking out elements based on some logic. Then we have functions. This is a simpler part. A function has an output and an input. Many of them are optional. That's when it becomes trouble. There are various ways to plot these graphs. In the Excel, we see many types of graph and there are nearly the same types of graph, but here there is a lot of commands and memory based things that you have to look at in graphs. So we'll develop some intuition on how to search for them. Then we have structures, which will store the elements, and these elements could be string, these elements could be matrix, these elements could be a structure as well. And then we have constructors that would bring in those skeletons that we want to use. So while using the help, we'll be careful about space, bracket, three dots which moves to the next line, and the inverted commas, date formats and other syntax. Now be careful about this date number. This is a type of conversion between the date that we type into a number. So if we write date in any way, we write like 1/1/2014 or 1-Jan-2014 or Jan-2014. Everything has to be converted into a number at the back end before MATLAB can use that. So this is some part that should be helpful. We'll look at some of these examples now. So these are the two very easy examples to get your momentum going. Let's move ahead with this. So there is some terminology. I will skip this. I'll move to a simple example to get your momentum going. Now this is a very basic example that I want you to run at your end in MATLAB to get some momentum. Now if you miss this inverted comma, that is holding down these dates, you might have some trouble. Now you are creating these variables and you will give these variables to CFS dates. So let me show you this. We have period, basis, and month, rule, issue date. Are we using this in the output? not for now. So let's look at this simple pricing function. We have a settlement date, we have a maturity date, we have an issue date, we have the first coupon date, we have a coupon rate, and we have yield. So we have got all the dates that we need, and our output here when we use this bond price would be the price and the accrued interest. If you note, we have got two strange things here. The first strange thing is these three dots. It means that move to the next line. So if you want to remove this dot, just write everything in the same line. Now if you observe these three blocks, we are skipping entries for them. So we are not giving any entry for them, and that is the reason. Now we would like to give the first input as yield, the second as coupon rate, then settle, then maturity. Then the next three we would like to leave blank, and then we need issue date and first coupon date. If you observe, if we go back to the formula, the function, the bond price function. Now the bond price function would be comprised of a long list of elements, and we can check that. So we are skipping a lot of them, which we are not giving. So let me try to go to the bond price function. So here it is. So this is the long function. The things that we don't want to give, we'll skip. So if something comes in between, like we don't want to talk about the basis or the end of month rule, we want it to be default, but we want to give issue date or first coupon date, then we'll put those blanks. If something is on the right side, we can just ignore that. We don't need to write blank there. So to run this, I'll go here, I'll go in MATLAB, I'll press this. Now I'll see everything in my workspace, the coupon rate, the date. Now if I run the bond price function, then I should get the bond price of 1130 and accrued interest of 0.9. So here I get, if you observe, every variable is being created on the workspace. The optional arguments for this function, we did not give them after comma, but to skip the internal arguments which we don't want to give, we use this bracket. So this is your first program for the fixed income. Moving ahead to the financial toolbox, you have got various terms, and you should know what these things would do. So it all comes down ultimately to the use of matrix, because if you observe what this would do, 100, 20, this would create a, I'll show you what this has entered. So it's like an Excel sheet or a variable editor. You can here edit things here as well. So you can double click and you can check what values are being stored there. Now I move to the help file. If you are aware about, I'll move to that instrument rather. And these are some examples that you can check. Now you might face trouble when you have not defined any of these inputs. That's problem one. Problem one, which is not here but you will face, is the different convention for generating random numbers. But in the fixed income we don't have that part, so we are not worried about that right now. In the other complex computation we'll see that. So you can just run these examples and check on if you are fine with them. Now a problem that occurs mainly is this date might give you trouble. Let me show you how. And if this date is not taken into the MATLAB screen in the right way, then you might see some problems there. So let me show you. Sometimes this date, if you see this, the part that I've highlighted, it's some kind of a different thing, and that's where it creates trouble. So if I'm pressing that using my keyboard, I'm getting the right apostrophe sign, but it might be different. So that is one error that you should be careful about. Now to get going, you should run these programs, have a look at them, understand what they are doing, and things are quite intuitive and simple here. If you know the basic understanding of bonds, what we are actually trying to do, things become very easy there and then. An example that I would like you to run is to convert spot and the forward rates. I'll talk about this right now. So in the world we have these kind of a yield for the new securities: 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, and we want to have an interpolated curve, something like this. This is the spline fitted, so there are various ways to fit those things. So I am taking and inputting this bond. So I'm creating a matrix which is like 3 into 6. Yes, 3 into 6. The first is the date of the maturity. It's given here, and then we have the other input. I'm not sure what this is, but I think this is the coupon. Yes, this is the coupon. So this is the coupon, and this 100 would be used somewhere to multiply things. Let's keep it as it is. So I'm going there, I'm trying to bring this. Now if I want to check what is in my bonds, whether things went right or not, I'll double click it and I'll see the same way as I used to do in the Excel. Now if you observe, this is being converted into a number, an integer, because whatever date you want, if this is coming into something different or some error, you might see that you have not used the date number function in the right way. Then you will put down these yields, and these yields are here: 1.15, 1.18. Now you might ask, why am I keeping this yields in a different way rather than bonds? Now the reason for that is when I'm going to use a particular function, it will recognize these elements into a particular format. So I guess there might be a function that we'll see in the later part which will use these bonds and yields variable. So here is that function. We just need the settlement date as well, and then we can use the curve to get the rates. So now I have all the inputs that I need to fit it. Now I need the zero rates and the curve dates. I'll get a matrix out of that. Now just before we go and check the output, observe that bonds was a matrix that we defined, yield was a matrix that we defined, everything was in like 6 rows. The settlement is one date, and it is again converted into a number, and then we have the bonds, which is 3 into 1. If you don't put bond 3 into 1, or you miss 100, then you might see an error, because that's where it is expected to behave at the back end. Now we'll get zero rate and curve when we use this. Let's try to run this and see what we get. So these are the zero rates and these are the dates. Now this date is again into number format. If you want to convert that into the dates, you can use the format that you would like to. But these are the zero rates for the 6 timings. Now we have extracted and removed those coupon part, and just we got to the rate. Then we have the forward rates as well, which we can calculate, and we can play around with the other things as well. So this was a very simple exercise on fixed income. Again, coming back here, the way in which you should do it is that first have a little look of array indexing, function, graphs, and clause structure and constructors. Be careful about these 5 things. The date format, don't get boggled up if you see a number in place of a date somewhere, because we convert all those dates into number. Be careful about the date number. Just run these 2 pages. These are simpler ones. And to start with, I checked out the second part, the date instrument, because that is easier. If you're not dealing or if you're not working a lot with the MBS, then you don't need to worry about that. So this is a kind of example that we did. And these are something, I think we did the zero coupon bonds. So I think we did this example. So the main examples for you to start with, I have kept it in the PowerPoint. The other example that you should check is in the help file, whichever thing you think is relevant. If it's not behaving in the way that you would like to, you can come back to me with your doubts and we can handle those specific questions. So let me know if you have any doubts in this one. I will end this tutorial. Thank you for listening.